In the quiet hills of Israel, young David was not just a shepherd, he was a boy with big dreams and bigger courage. Little did he know, the day would come when he'd face a giant.
All right, Mr. Stump. Let's see if I can hit you from way over here. I've got to keep my aim sharp for, well, you never know when a giant's going to show up.
David. Come here, son.
Dad, is it time for lunch already? I swear, the sheep just ate the last of the grass.
Jesse chuckled as he handed David a sack of food. Take this to your brothers with King Saul at the front lines, he said. David's eyes widened. A battle? Jesse smiled, not quite. Goliath's been mocking us for days. Deliver this, and watch what's happening.
You got it, Dad. I'll deliver food and maybe tell that giant to take a chill pill.
With a sack of food, David approached the battlefield. There, he saw Goliath, the Philistine giant, clad in massive armor and taunting the Israelites with a booming voice. It was a sight unlike anything David had ever seen.
I defy the armies of Israel. Is there no one who dares to fight me? I will crush you all with just my pinky finger.
Man, someone needs to teach this guy some manners. Where's his mom when you need her?
David arrived to find his brother's tents, eyes fixed on Goliath. What are you doing here? One asked. David shrugged, holding the sack. Just bringing lunch. How hard could it be? I deal with sheep all day.
David, you don't understand. Goliath has been mocking us, and no one dares to fight him. He's huge.
I faced lions and bears, and God delivered me every time. Goliath is no different. This battle isn't mine, it's the Lord's. With his strength, I'll take this giant down, not for my glory, but to show everyone that the God of Israel is undefeated.
David wasn't just talking big, he had faced danger before. With God's help, he had fought off lions and bears to protect his sheep. As he stood there, his mind flashed back to two unforgettable moments.
That lion thought he could have one of my sheep for dinner. But I wasn't about to let that happen. I took him down with my sling and a lot of help from God. Lions and bears are tough, but our God is tougher, and now I've got a giant to deal with.
Once David finished speaking with his brothers, he made his way to King Saul's tent. Determined and unshaken, he announced, I'll fight this giant. The room fell silent. David's confidence wasn't in himself but in God, who had delivered him before and would do so again.
King Saul, I'll fight Goliath.
King Saul eyed David skeptically. You? A boy with a sling? That giant is a warrior. David smiled. I faced lions and bears while guarding my sheep. God delivered me then, and he'll deliver me now. The battle isn't mine, it's his. Saul sighed. Take armor.
King Saul, unless you've got a smaller size, this isn't going to work.
Fair enough. Stick with what you know, shepherd boy. Just remember, we'll all be watching and praying. May God be with you.
David stands firm at the base of the hill, his sling in hand, unshaken as Goliath towers above him, sneering. The giant's booming voice echoes, mocking the boy before him, but David's faith remains steadfast. With unwavering trust in God, he prepares for the fight of his life.
Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? What's next? You going to throw a pebble and hope I fall? This is a battlefield, not a playground. Even the birds are watching to see what happens next.
You come with sword and spear, but I come in the name of the Lord Almighty. Today, he will deliver you into my hands, and all will know there is a God in Israel.
David's confidence was in the Lord, not his own strength. With faith, he slung a stone that struck Goliath in the forehead, sending the giant crashing to the ground, defeated by the power of God, not by strength. Goliath's pride was shattered, and the power of God's might was displayed for all to see. With a single stone, the battle was won, not by strength, but by faith in the living God. This story reminds us that no matter how big or scary our problems may seem, trust in God can help us overcome them. True victory comes not from our own strength but from putting our faith in Him.
In the days when Babylon was the superpower of the world, King Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to Jerusalem. Among the captives were 4 young men, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, chosen for their intelligence and potential. Their journey would test their faith like never before. The young men were handpicked to serve in the king's court. But there was one catch: they had to eat from the king's table, which included food and drink forbidden by their faith.
Okay, is it just me, or does this food look like it could attack us? What is that?
That's definitely a pig's leg, still attached to the hoof. And is that octopus? I think it's waving at me. This drink smells fiery. Pretty sure it's not grape juice. Is this supposed to make us smarter or just knock us out?
Guys, this isn't funny. We can't eat this. You know what God's commanded. We're here to serve him first, not the king's menu.
Relax, Daniel. Nobody's forcing us to eat a plate of tentacles yet.
No, but they will. We've been brought here to learn their ways, remember. They want us to forget everything God taught us. If we start giving in now, where does it stop?
Miss Hale nodded, his grin fading as the weight of Daniel's words sank in. Daniel's right, he admitted. If we eat this, it's like saying the king's table matters more than God's commands. And that's not true. Even Azariah, who usually kept things light, couldn't ignore the seriousness of the moment. With a grin laced with determination, he added, okay, I'm with you. No pig, no octopus, no fiery juice. But what's the plan? We can't just walk up to King Nebuchadnezzar and say, thanks, but no thanks. The four friends exchanged a determined look, ready to stand together in faith, even in the heart of Babylon's grandeur. Daniel had an idea. Instead of causing trouble, he decided to talk to the steward in charge.
Sir, can we try eating only vegetables and drinking water for 10 days? After that, you can see if it works.
Vegetables and water for 10 days? You know the king expects results, right? If you start looking weak or sickly, it's my neck on the line, not yours. Fine. 10 days. But if this backfires, I'll make sure the king knows whose idea it was.
While everyone else gobbled up piles of meat and fancy food, Daniel and his friends sat together, happily eating their vegetables and drinking water. They didn't mind, they knew they were making the right choice. After 10 days, the steward was astonished by what he saw. Daniel and his friends stood tall and full of strength, their faces glowing with health and their eyes shining with determination. In contrast, the others in the king's program, who had indulged in rich foods and meats, looked sluggish and tired. The simple diet of vegetables and water had not only sustained Daniel and his friends but made them stand out as the healthiest and most vibrant among their peers. The steward, amazed and thoughtful, studied the boys closely, marveling at the remarkable difference. After a moment of silence, he finally said,
I don't understand how this worked, but you're stronger than the rest. While they look tired and weak, you four are glowing with health and full of energy. Your choice to eat only vegetables and drink water has truly amazed me. You've proven your God's way is wise.
Daniel and his friends stood firm in their decision to honor God, even when it set them apart from everyone else. Their faithfulness showed that God's wisdom leads to true strength and vitality. This story reminds us that choosing to follow God, even when it's not the easiest path, brings blessings and sets an example for others to see His greatness.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today, we're going to talk about a man named Job. No, not a job like your chores at home, or that thing grown-ups do to make money. This is Job, the guy who had everything, and I mean everything. He had a big family, lots of animals, and a comfy life. But guess what? Things took a wild turn. Buckle up, this one's going to be a roller coaster.
Oh, life is good. Look at my 7 sons, 3 daughters, and all these camels, sheep, and cows. I mean, how can it get any better than this? I even throw the best parties in town.
Yep, Job was living the dream. And you know what? He was also a good guy. Job loved God and did everything right. He helped the poor, fed the hungry, and made sure to pray for his kids after every party. A real dad of the year, if you ask me. Meanwhile, up in heaven, God and Satan were having a chat. Yes, Satan gets invited to these meetings too, though he's not really anyone's favorite guest.
Hey, Satan. Have you noticed my servant Job? He's the best. Faithful, righteous, and he never misses a day of prayer.
Well, of course, he's loyal to you. You've given him everything, a big family, loads of animals, a comfy house. Take it all away, and he'll definitely stop worshipping you.
Okay, you know what? I trust Job. Go ahead and test him. But don't lay a finger on him.
Whoa. Now this is where things get crazy. Satan gets permission to mess with Job's life, but little does he know, Job's faith is stronger than a camel after a good meal.
Master, your oxen and donkeys are all gone. Raiders took them, and they got the servants too.
Master, fire came down from the sky. It's burned all the sheep and the shepherds. Master, the Chaldeans took your camels, all of them. Master, oh my dear master, your children, a great wind blew down the house. They're all gone, all gone.
Yep, in just one day, Job lost everything, his animals, his wealth, even his children. Most people would have thrown in the towel right there. But not Job. Wanna see what he did?
Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Whoa, now that's faith. Even after all that, Job didn't blame God. Not one bit. Can you believe it?
Okay, sure he didn't curse you. But that's because he still has his health. Let me mess with that, and he'll definitely turn against you.
Fine, but don't kill him.
And so, round 2 begins. Satan strikes Job with painful sores, from the top of his head to the tips of his toes. Now, here come Job's friends. And let's just say, they aren't exactly the best cheerleaders.
Job, buddy, you must have done something wrong. Nobody gets this unlucky for no reason.
Yeah, just tell the truth, Job. You must have sinned.
Just admit it, buddy, and maybe God will stop punishing you.
You all really aren't being too comforting right now. With friends like you who needs enemies.
Alright, folks, buckle up. We've seen Job lose just about everything, his wealth, his health, and now even his wife's support. But Job, he's still holding on, even when the closest person in his life is telling him to let go.
Are you still holding on to your integrity, Job? Just curse God and die already.
You're talking like a foolish woman. Should we only accept good from God and not trouble?
Even with his own wife losing faith, Job stood strong. Now that's commitment. Just when Job thinks he's heard it all, God shows up with a response. And it's big, really big.
Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorance? Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you know so much.
God gives Job a front row seat to creation and the universe's wonders. I mean, talk about an epic lesson in perspective. Before restoring Job's life, God had a few words for his friends. He told them to go to Job and ask him to pray for them, since they hadn't spoken rightly about him. They obeyed, and Job prayed, forgiving them. And in the end, God gave Job back twice as much as he had before, more wealth, a new family, and a restored health. Job lived to see not only his children, but his grandchildren and even his great-grandchildren. He enjoyed a full, happy life for another 140 years. Talk about a happy ending. So, friends, remember, no matter how tough life gets, trust in God. Even in the hardest times, He's got a plan.
Jonah, a simple man, walking alone on a quiet road, suddenly felt a presence like never before. The sky parted, and a voice, powerful and commanding, echoed from the heavens.
Jonah, arise. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, for its wickedness has come up before me.
Lord, is that you? But why me? I'm just a simple man. I am not worthy to carry such a message.
Jonah looked up at the sky, wide-eyed. God wanted him to go to Nineveh, the city known for being, well, a little wild.
Nineveh. That's far, and the people there aren't exactly the friendliest. Are you sure, God?
Jonah, did I stutter? I clearly told you go to Nineveh.
Jonah hesitated, scratching his head. Then, he spotted a boat going in the opposite direction. An idea popped into his head.
Tarshish, here I come.
Thinking he could run from God, Jonah boarded a ship to Tarshish. But as he settled in, a huge storm hit, tossing the boat like a toy.
The storm is crazy. Who brought this on us?
The storm continued to rage, with each wave more furious than the last. While the sailors frantically tried to save the ship, Jonah had been asleep below deck. But the violent storm stirred such panic that the captain himself rushed down to wake Jonah.
Get up. Pray to your God. Maybe he'll take notice of us, and we won't perish.
Desperate for answers, the sailors cast lots to see who might be responsible for their plight, and the lot fell on Jonah. Turning to him with anxious faces, they demanded, "What is your occupation? Where do you come from? What is your country, and of what people are you?" With a heavy sigh, Jonah finally admitted the truth.
All right. It's me. I'm the reason for the storm.
After some convincing, the sailors threw Jonah overboard, and the storm stopped instantly. Just as Jonah thought it was over, a huge fish came out of nowhere and swallowed him whole.
Great. I'm stuck inside a fish. Just what I needed.
For 3 days, Jonah had a lot of time to think. Finally, he realized he needed to listen to God.
All right, God. I'm ready to go to Nineveh. Just let me out.
The fish spat Jonah onto dry land, and he finally made his way to Nineveh. Covered in seaweed and smelling of fish, he walked into town, gathering curious stares.
People of Nineveh, I have a message from God. In 40 days, the city will be destroyed unless you turn from your wicked ways and repent.
The people of Nineveh, from the greatest to the least, heard Jonah's warning. Recognizing their wrongdoings, they repented in hopes of God's forgiveness. After delivering God's message, Jonah went outside the city and found a spot to watch what would happen to Nineveh. He still hoped they might be punished for their wickedness.
I knew it, God. I knew you'd be merciful. Why did I even come here?
God saw Jonah's frustration and caused a leafy plant to grow quickly, giving Jonah some much-needed shade from the hot sun. Jonah, relieved, finally felt a bit of comfort.
Oh, that's better. Thank you, God.
But the next morning, God sent a worm to chew through the plant's stem, and it withered away. As the sun rose high, Jonah was left sweltering under its heat.
Why, God? First the fish, then Nineveh, and now this plant.
And God said to Jonah, "If you care so much about a plant you didn't even grow, shouldn't I care about Nineveh and all its people?" With that, Jonah understood, God's mercy extends to everyone who turns to him. Jonah learned God's mercy is boundless and his purpose best. As God showed compassion to Nineveh, we're reminded to show kindness and understanding, even to those who differ. Jonah's journey teaches us forgiveness, humility, and compassion.
Once upon a time in the land of Moab, there was a man named Balaam. Balaam was known for his power to bless or curse people, and his fame had reached far and wide. The king of Moab, Balak, was really nervous about the Israelites camping nearby. So he sent messengers to Balaam, hoping he'd come and curse them. One day, the messengers from Moab arrived outside Balaam's home, carrying a message from King Balak himself. The king was growing fearful of the Israelites camping nearby and was looking for a powerful curse to keep them away.
Balaam, our king, Balak of Moab, has sent us to ask for your help. He's heard of your power to bless and curse. The Israelites have set up camp nearby, and he's nervous, they're too close for comfort. If you would come with us and curse them, the king promises you great rewards.
I can't simply go and curse anyone. I must first consult with God and see if he allows me to go.
That night, God spoke to Balaam, instructing him not to go with the messengers, for the Israelites were a blessed people. The next morning, Balaam explains God's message to the disappointed messengers.
The Lord has spoken. I cannot go, nor can I curse the Israelites, they are blessed by you.
We'll let the king know your decision, Balaam. But I must warn you, our king, Balak, is not one to take no for an answer. He greatly fears these Israelites and sees them as a threat to our land. He will not rest until he gets your help to curse them, and he's willing to reward you generously."
And with that, the messenger turned and began the journey back to Balak, his footsteps heavy with uncertainty. They knew their king's determination all too well and suspected he wouldn't give up easily. Balak, consumed with fear of the Israelites, would surely find another way to persuade Balaam. The messengers returned to Balak with Balaam's refusal. But Balak was not easily deterred. Determined to have his way, he sent more distinguished messengers with even greater promises of wealth and honor.
"Greetings again, Balaam. King Balak insists you reconsider. He will honor you greatly, and anything you desire, it will be yours. Please, come with us and curse these Israelites for him."
Balaam asked the messengers to wait while he sought God's guidance once more. That night, God spoke to him again, but with a condition.
"Since these men have already come to summon you, go with them. But remember, you are to speak only the words that I give you."
In the morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and began the journey. But God was displeased, and along the way, an angel of the Lord blocked his path.
What is wrong with you? Move, you stubborn creature.
3 times, the donkey stopped, and 3 times, Balaam beat her. Finally, God opened the donkey's mouth, and she spoke to Balaam.
"Why are you beating me? Have I ever behaved this way before? Don't you see the angel in the road?"
Then God opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel standing in the way, sword drawn. Terrified, Balaam fell face down.
Why have you beaten your donkey? I stood in the way to oppose you because your path is reckless. If not for her, I would have struck you down.
Balaam confessed his wrongdoing and asked if he should turn back. But the angel instructed him to go, warning him to speak only what God commanded. When Balaam finally arrived, King Balak eagerly led him to a high place to curse the Israelites. But as Balaam opened his mouth, only blessings came out, for he could speak only what God instructed.
How can I curse whom God has not cursed? How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel.
Balak was furious, but Balaam remained firm. He could only speak what God commanded, and in doing so, he delivered a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty and blessing over his people. And so, Balaam's journey reminds us all, no matter how much the world tempts us, we must always follow God's will, for his plans are greater than ours.